Welcome into the Casual House right here on the YouTube channel of KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network. I'm Earl Burnett, aka Casual E, and I am here to give you, of course, my perspective of what's going on in the world of Arizona sports. You have several things or avenues you can choose from, but you choose to be in the Casual House, and I appreciate that. And we're going to be getting back on the horse, so to speak, getting the guests coming in here. I'll speak on that later, but a lot of things coming up. But we're going to go ahead and get right into the show and get into, of course, what we normally do about this time and find out what is going on in this crazy world of sport.
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
In the Casual House.
Well, what's going on right now is I don't have a music bed up. Usually I got a music bed to that. So, but anyway, right now, what's going on in the world of sports, of course, we can talk about a lot of things, starting in, of course, NFL. The Super Bowl 56 is set. And, of course, like I told y'all last week, or the other couple of days ago, I should say, there's always some team, one of the dominant teams, that's supposed to make it to the Super Bowl because they're the dominant team that have been the dominant team on both sides, NFC and AFC. Somebody always chokes it away and doesn't make it, and another team comes up and surprises and gets in a Super Bowl who should never ever been there. I can't say never ever, but nobody expected the Bengals from playoff starting to make it this far. In fact, I believe a lot of people had them losing to the Raiders. Everybody had them losing to Tennessee, of course. And I think the entire world had them losing to the Chiefs. So props to the Bengals for just gritting and gutting out wins, man. Just buckling down on the road for so far 3 straight weeks, and now they got one more game on the road, pretty much, and they'll be Super Bowl champions. Can you believe that? Now, I hope nobody sleeps on this team, because I've been already getting some text messages from some of my guys about how this is going to be a blowout. I don't think so. I mean, this team has done some things and gotten where they are right now for a reason. They're not just sneaking up on, they are kind of sneaking up on somebody, but they are not being lucky doing it. This team is earning every doggone thing they've gotten up to this point. Got to give them their props. The Bengals have earned every last thing they've gotten, and a 21-3 deficit, 18-point deficit by the hottest offense in the let's say the AFC, the hottest offense in the AFC. And they've done it twice. The last time it was 15 points. Now it's 18 points. So whether they have the recipe to beating the Chiefs or not, the Bengals make that crucial play. And so far in every game that they've played in these playoffs, they make that crucial play that seems to turn the tide into their favor. Like, you can go back to the Raider game, the points of when they scored the touchdowns in that game. You can go back, maybe you can even go back before the playoffs even started, when they played Kansas City the first time. The play that turned that game, when it looks like the Chiefs were going on a blowout, 14-0, about to blow them out, they always get that big play that shows that they're going to fight back. And that big old play to Jamar Chase in the first game against Kansas City, scored the touchdown. You go, oh, did they just get lucky there? Or nope, that started them rolling. And the Raider game, they did something. I got to go back and look at the tape. But as I come through the playoffs, the Tennessee game, a turnover, a key play, a key big play always gets that team to turn the tide. And they turned the tide in that AFC Championship game, being down 21-3. And a great play call by the offensive coordinator, a screenplay to P. Ryan, I believe it is. And he scores a big play touchdown. And it looks like, okay, the Bengals are going to at least fight back. And that's why I was saying through the whole game, they're going to at least fight back. They're not going to just lay down and get blown out, right? And so key plays, and that got them back in the game. And then, of course, the key play that really turned the tide for the Bengals in their favor is the pressure getting on Patrick Mahomes and forced that turnover where he threw the pick. So you got to give them their props. They know how to win. Defense showed up when they had to show up because they gave up quick 21 points. It looked like they were not going to be able to stop or slow down that Kansas City offense. But this is what I've been talking about when it comes to a team that's been in the playoffs for the first time. They come in a little shaky, but yet they get their feet underneath them and gird their loins, so to speak, and they get up and straighten their backs out, and they go out and say, okay, we might not know how to do this, and we haven't been here, but we're going to at least play our game. Let's go ahead and start playing our game and fight back and see what happens. Because that's what Joe Mixon said at halftime. It's like, hey, look, we down 21-3. It don't matter. Let's just go ahead and do what we've been doing. Everybody buy in and believe what we've been doing all season long up until this point. Let's just see what happens. Next thing you know, they come out with another surge of energy, and the Chiefs gave them the momentum when they bounced that dang on play before halftime and left those points on the board. And that was a key to the game. You got to take the points there. You got to take the points there. You got to take the point. That's when this game turned mentally on the Chiefs because they got greedy. And tonight's going to be a theme's going to be about greedy teams. Well, not greedy teams, but the theme's going to be pretty much about arrogant teams. The LA Rams and this Kansas City Chiefs is a little arrogant, and that was arrogant on Mahomes' part and the Chiefs or Andy Reid's part to try to just get greedy right there and just say, hey, look, we so good. Even if we don't get this, we can overcome these things if we don't get it. You got to be thinking like that to do a play like that, right? You got to be thinking like that to say 5 seconds, I can get one quick one and just come on, coach, let me get it in. I know we can do it. That's arrogance to a point where, like, we just this good. We know we're this good, and we're going to punk you like this. Like the first 3 touchdowns in that game. You look the celebrations and Kelsey doing his little celebrating and Tyreek Hill doing his little runs and all these things, and they get to hopping around, and you can see the arrogance popping up. Same thing with the Rams, but I'll get on them in a minute. But that arrogance of the Chiefs showed up and bit them in the butt big time, because you gotta get 3 points out of that at least. When that incomplete pass and he threw the pass in the end zone, which was the correct play the first time, 5 seconds left on that clock, you got to kick that field goal. And if you don't kick that field goal, you got to, do another quick play or something that will get the ball past the goal line. And if it incompleted, it'll at least leave you a second or two on the clock. You throw it out on a screenplay or in the flat to a receiver you think that can make it, and you threw that play late. That was the last read. It was like, oh, now I'll throw it out there and just Tyreek try to juke this guy and get in. And that's an arrogant play. That's a play that's saying, okay, come on, we can do whatever we want to do. No, you can't. It's the playoffs. You got to think smart, and you got to play smart, and you got to take the points when you can take the points. Points are hard to come by in the playoffs. So I don't care how fiery your offense is. You take those points, because at least that would have broke, it might not have broke the back of the Bengals, but at the same time, it would have put them in a situation where they were in a thought process probably of, man, we can't stop this team. Instead, you give them momentum to say, okay, well, hey, they're not all that unstoppable. and then they disrespect us too by saying they're going to just go for it like that. Oh, come on. And that got to lift you up a little bit. And I'm pretty sure some of the players in that locker room for the Bengals probably thinking that way. And so they came out with a surge of energy and just kind of put it on the Chiefs after that. They put it on them. They came out and played a defensive second half that was unbelievable, stopping that offense for no touchdowns. Matter of fact, they didn't score a point until overtime, until that led them to get to overtime. In the fourth quarter, they got the 3 points to tie it up. But to stop that team from scoring touchdown, that's the first I've seen of that. And so the Bengals give them props. They came to play. And while we on the Bengals, you can't talk the Bengals without talking Joe Burrow. My goodness. Oh, man. Wow. Man, what can you say about this kid? In his second year, coming off an ACL injury, mind you, and takes his team to a Super Bowl. This is the definition, the purest definition of a franchise quarterback out of the draft. And this timetable that he's doing what he's doing is perfect, right on point, right on time. His first year, he probably would have, upset some teams down the stretch had he not gotten hurt. So, one thing that stands out to me about that is usually when a player comes in and off of an ACL injury, a serious injury of that nature, of that caliber, I should say, it usually takes that player a whole season to get back to where he was playing at the time he got hurt. And that season they come back, they're not quite there yet. And they're not quite hitting on all cylinders. And they take that low, slow period of getting confident again to get back where they were before they got hurt. This shows you this kid is really strong-minded. And this is what I love about him. He is really a strong-minded person, strong-minded kid, because it's a mental thing to come back out there on that field and get your knee hit, touched, people hanging around at the bottom of your feet and around the knee. And he looked it in the eye and just overcame it. And next thing you know, he's in the Super Bowl. So props to him. Props to Joe Burrow being the next big franchise quarterback right now. I mean, he can only get better from here on out. And I like their chances in the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about that too. I like their chances in the Super Bowl. But 2 years, man, it only took him 2 years to get there. But props to the Kansas City Chiefs. Props to the Cincinnati Bengals for taking down the mighty Kansas City Chiefs to make it to the big dance. And then, of course, we can also see on the other side of this coin the NFC Championship game. Another arrogant team in the Rams that just flies around, talks crap all day, just got a swagger about them that just says we definitely better than y'all. We got a stacked roster. Nobody, they just fly around and just talk too much crap all day long. But if you can back it up, I guess it really doesn't matter. But the 49ers haven't coming into that in that championship game, beating the Rams 6 straight times. You don't think that they are motivated to get that thing over with. They were not intimidated. They were not afraid. It was not in their head. They were mad. And they were not going to let the 49ers come in there and beat them. So Aaron Donald pretty much took over that game and seized the moment and got that turnover over Jimmy G, and bam, game over. So props to the Rams for making it in. Other things we can talk about, and we probably hit a little bit more on the NFC Championship game, a little bit, but I know I should probably spend a little bit more time on the AFC and Joe Burrow, but man, it's the Cincinnati freaking Bengals that made it to the Super Bowl. But other things that we can talk about, the Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns has been named the coach of LeBron's team, or the West, I should say. Well deserved. It's no secret, they're their number one team so far, and we're going to get into our Suns segment later after we talk a little bit about the Cardinals and what their move should be and all these things. But those are a lot of things we can talk about. We're going to talk about the Suns, of course. We're going to talk about the All-Star game. We're going to talk about some of the coaching hires that are going down. What do you think about that Josh McDaniel move for the Raiders? I don't know. I think it kind of fits a little bit, but we'll talk about that too. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to get right on into the Cardinals and the moves that they could make in the offseason. I told y'all last week that I thought for sure that they should have already made the move and cut ties with Cliff Kingsbury, but we already know that's not going to happen. So what can the Cardinals do to better their team as the NFC West starts to leave them behind? Because one thing they have got going right now in the NFC West is that Rams team, this is it for them. This is their all for everything. This is all the marbles, all the money is pressed into the middle of a poker table, because next year all those rentals that they use to get to this Super Bowl are probably going to be gone. So get that Super Bowl while you can get it. And that's what they're doing. So we're going to get back in that, and we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of those games, a little bit of Super Bowl preview. We got so many, 2 whole weeks before we have to worry about the Super Bowl. Also, too, the Pro Bowl. Is anybody going to be watching the Pro Bowl? Is anybody going to be caring on the Pro Bowl? I'm talking AZ Sports here. Is anybody going to be watching to see the demeanor and the attitude and I mean, just want to see what Kyler is going to look like coming into a setting like a Pro Bowl and showing himself, for the first time since that debacle in the playoff game. And even when he comes out on the field, what does he look like? So we'll talk about that too. So in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break, and you're listening to the Casual Sports Show right here on YouTube channel, Casual Sports Radio Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at CasaForChildren.org.
Got a big painting project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
This is Larry Fitzgerald. You listen to the exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, Casual Sports.
Welcome back into the Casual House. Earl Burnett right here on your Casual Sports YouTube channel. And a lot of things have changed for Casual Sports Radio. But, I mean, I don't need to get all into the details of what's going on and what has changed. But all we know is, that you need to know is that we're still here trying to give you the best Arizona content that we can give you. So props to all the people that continue to make it happen. Props to all our sponsors. Props to the sponsorship for CASA, sponsorship for Customer First Solutions, and a few others. But those are the main ones for our sponsorship. But anyway, getting back to where we were talking about, I want to jump back onto the NFC Championship game, because I was talking about, when I looked at the AFC, we were talking about the teams that are, you know, in my opinion, so dominant. They think they're so dominant, or they think they're that good that they can make mistakes and take chances in games, and despite what they do, it's not going to hurt them. And it always comes back to hurt you in the playoffs, because the playoffs is that type of monster. But I want to look at in that NFC Championship game, when you saw the arrogance of Sean McVay going for those two challenges and wasting all his timeouts. I mean, come on, in any game playing against any team in the playoffs, and you just burn all your timeouts with 11 to 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, come on now. I mean, and then the challenges that you were challenging were just really, really no way you could win them. You're not going to ever win a challenge on a quarterback sneak, ever, because there's too many people piled up, too many things that can come back inconclusive for you to take your chance and lose a timeout in that scenario. And then the other challenge didn't make any sense. It's no way the guy fumbled the ball. He's down on the ground. I mean, I understand you trying to keep that ball and turn things to your favor, but sometimes you got to stop being greedy and just let the game come to you, and stop thinking you can just take things from the other team like that. And then Sean McVay just believes he can do whatever he wants to do because he's going to overcome it by his team. And they did overcome it. Got to give him that. But he made it a whole lot harder than it had to be. And then you go for that fourth down in midfield and don't get it. Those are decisions that some teams, if they had a better quarterback, Jimmy G, would take advantage of. And you're looking down, now you're going home, you know, not going to the next level, to the Super Bowl. And it's because your coach is arrogant. He thinks he can do whatever he wants to do, and he's not going to have any consequences for those actions. Now, there's nothing wrong with him being I'm not going to say arrogant or confident coach. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I wish we kind of had it. But sometimes when you think your team is just that good, you think that you can do whatever you want, make mistakes, and compensate for it later down the line and make it up. And sometimes that's going to cost you. So we'll see how the Rams do going into the Super Bowl. Will they just kind of just go all out and do the same thing? But I mean, to not have any timeouts in a crucial playoff game like that coming down the stretch could have been worse than it was. Let's just say it could have been a loss, because game management, time management, and all those things mean everything in a playoff game. They mean everything in any scenario, football wise, anyway, or sports period. But in the playoffs and a football game, man, it's vital to have those timeouts coming down the stretch, because you just never know. And then there was a couple of plays down the stretch that he probably could have challenged, but he couldn't challenge because he didn't have any timeouts. So the arrogance of the Rams, man. We're going to stack this team. We're going to do this. We're going to have everything. Hey, if it works, I guess it works. But, man, I was rooting against that. And I sure was. I was rooting for the 49ers like crazy in that game. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Cardinal fans were kind of on the same boat, in the same thinking the same way. So it was hard to even root for either one of those teams, but anyway, the Super Bowl is set. Rams are playing the Super Bowl in their own building. For the second year in a row, a team's going to be playing in their own building. And before y'all start tweeting and saying, "Oh, the Cardinals next year," stop it. Don't even go there. Stop it right there. I'm not going to even comment on that. I told you I'm going to be down on this team until they start making the right changes and do the right things and get past the hump of being able to win big games when it's time to at least show up in a big game. No way I'm going to even think about the Cardinals playing in a building for the Super Bowl next year. No way. Stop it. Cut it out. Anyway, Two things in that Super Bowl, of course, like I said, not Super Bowl, in that NFC Championship game. We saw Aaron Donald and Von Miller pretty much take over the game, Aaron Donald mainly at the end, and got his team together and was like, this is it, it's time to go. And he went out there and showed it and made it happen. The receivers, Cooper Kupp and OBJ, are just playing at a level that is really tough to match. Now, I love the matchup in the Super Bowl because both sides got good receivers playing good ball right now. But I like this OBJ. I don't know if y'all noticed this OBJ is a little more reserved and a little bit more under control. There was a situation in that game where he took a late hit, and any other time would have gotten up and got back in the other guy's face and got another flag on himself. Instead, he just looked at the ref, gave him the ball. It's like, look, man, he hit me in the head, and just walked away from the guy. I'm like, wow, that's Odell Beckham. So you got to give him his props. Since he's come into LA, he has been productive first, and he has been a good citizen, and he has been a good teammate. And I think he's always been a good teammate. Just people kind of give him a bad rap because certain things he wants to win, and he's got that dog mentality that wants to win, and it comes out and it shows out. But you got to give him props to where he's kind of been reserved and kind of just, hey, I'm going to let my play do the talking. I want a Super Bowl ring. I'm going after it. Props to OBJ, man. And here go another guy that's going to be on when he's on that quick rental from the Rams. Yeah. I don't know if he would be a Cardinal, but that would, man, we don't make moves like that anyway. Matthew Stafford. He did some Matthew Stafford things in that game that he got away with. The interception that Tart dropped was a Matthew Stafford chance that you're going to look for in every game. He's going to give you an opportunity. He's going to give you an opportunity to snatch a game or get a turnover or two. He's going to give you the opportunity. It's going to happen. It's Matthew Stafford. And that ball he threw was just, I don't know what that was. But when you don't take advantage of the interception and pick that ball off and keep that 3 points off the board, that was the turn for the 49ers in the Rams' favor in that game, because you got to take advantage when he gives you the ball. So we could talk about a lot of things on that front, but it's going to be breaking down the Super Bowl for the next 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stomach it. I probably won't touch the Super Bowl until probably the last couple of days before. I don't want to be using a whole week, 2 weeks leading up and all of that. No, I'm not going to touch it. In fact, I probably got to go down to Media Day down there in California on Monday. Not this Monday, but the following Monday, because that's when Media Day, all the teams come into town. Well, the Rams are already in town. They don't have to travel, but the Bengals will be coming in town, and both teams will be staying near the stadium and coming into the stadium for the first time and walking the stadium. The field will be all put together, and it'll be all night. It's the same Super Bowl festivities. And the Media Day is on Monday night, so I'll probably be down there myself. So give y'all some of that casual sports content on the Super Bowl front. Props. One thing, another. You heard Larry Fitzgerald on the rejoin, but props to Fitz for being part of the Arizona Super Bowl next year's committee. So a lot of people trying to look around the corner like, hey, let me get my, get the hookup. Fitz is in the, he's, we got some ties with Fitz, so it's like maybe we can get some real good media coverage and some media hookup for the Super Bowl. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about. Let's switch things over to the Phoenix Suns, and this is where I usually have my guests come in and we talk to Suns, but we're going to get to that probably during the end of the week or so. But I don't want to spend too much time on it because I want to save some time for Flex when he comes on later down in the week. But Monty Williams is the coach of the West, but this team is just making so many strides to being probably a special team. You can tell it's category special right now with the things this team is doing right now. Category straight special, because some of the things that are happening that should not be happening. And you look at that team and you go, where is the polarizing superstars that takes over teams and have, where is the jump out of the gym guy on that team? Where is you're looking for something that makes you, why are they so spectacular? And I told y'all last time that to me, they're spectacular in a different way. They're spectacular in the same way that those old Spurs teams were back with Greg Popovich, with Tim Duncan, Manu, and Parker, and how they just had a bunch of people around those three guys. They're not the high fly acts. They're not the high fly superstars and polarizing superstars that everybody loves and gets to all-star games, except Tim Duncan did, because he's just dominated in his position. But that team was not a loved team. Like, oh, that team is like one of the spectacular teams to watch. They just grinded out and won games. And this is what the Suns are doing. They look exactly like those Spurs teams back in the day. Of course, Monty Williams comes off the Spurs coaching tree, so it was typical that he would look like the Spurs a little bit. But if they're going to look like the Spurs and play like the Spurs, let's hope that everything that the Spurs got coming out of it can also come to this Phoenix Suns team, where they're winning 4 out of 4 championships in 7 years and always there challenging for the ring. The way this team is constructed right now, man, it's hard to say that they're not going to win this thing this year, but let's see what happens. But 40-9 is the record for the Phoenix Suns right now. 40-9. Their win over Utah on Wednesday completed their 8-0 run in road games in the calendar month, in a calendar year. Twice, 8 in a row of road games in a month, twice in a calendar year of an NBA season. This team is doing stuff that is unheard of. They're the first team in NBA history to go 8-0 on multiple months in a season. On the road, mind you. So, 16-0 in November, and now they're currently at 13-1 for January. These are numbers is like almost what that Chicago Bulls team at 70 and what they do is 70-12, were they? So I don't know. They're doing some major things that is just like out of this world. They're the first team, also the only team in NBA history, only team this season with a winning percentage over 900 in 2 different months. The only team is, it's not, no other team has even done that once, and they've done it twice in the same season. So props to whatever. You just hope, and you kind of start to. I'm not no superstitious person when you start knocking on wood and all this stupid stuff, because I don't believe in all that. But you just really hope that nobody gets hurt major going into a playoff run, because I don't see this team losing in a series to any team in this league, including the Golden State Warriors. So, and my reasoning for that I think the Suns would beat the Warriors in a 7-game series is because the Warriors depend on too much on the 3-point ball going down every night. They depend on that way too much. Even if they are the number 1 defensive team in the league, they depend on that 3 way too much. And there is no way in a playoff series that you're going to shoot the ball at that high clip in a 7-game series to beat a team like the Phoenix Suns. I don't see it happening. The Suns would demolish the Warriors in the paint while they're out there gunning up 40 to 53s a night. Will they get hot and get a couple of games? Of course, because that's what they do. But when it comes to playoff basketball, half court offense, and slowing it down and getting some points in the paint, the Suns went back and reloaded in that area. And so I just talked about the Suns and what they look like, that Spurs team. You know, the Bucks look like them too. But the Bucks have that superstar that's like, oh man, that's the guy. They have that guy, but the guys around him are almost methodical and just know how to win now. So that's another team that might be there again at the end. But I guarantee they get there again, they're going to get beat because the Suns team just knows how to win it. I looked at the game last night, that Spurs game. I mean, the whole game, they're just coasting. I mean, pretty much coasting through the game. And the Spurs are up double digits, making play after play. The Spurs making play after play, shot after shot. And you're going, wow, this is a night they're going to lose this game. And then you start thinking, no, let's just see what happens in the fourth quarter when they're down 10. Fourth quarter starts, and, you know, the Spurs still hung around. And then midway through that fourth quarter, here they come. Here comes Chris Paul, and here comes Devin Booker closing it out. And you just knew they were gonna find a way to win that game. It's like, man, this team is incredible. And I hope we don't lose Cam Johnson next year or in the near future to the big contract from somebody, because this kid is making leaps and bounds of being a dynamic player. I mean, definitely should be an all-star next year. He is playing out of his mind right now, him and Bridges, but his offensive game has went to another level where he is a threat for that three and then putting that ball on the floor and getting to the rack and dunking on people. And he's a good defender, and he's just doing everything that he needs to do to make this team what they are. So I hope we don't lose him. I really don't. I really hope we can keep him. But it's going to be tough to keep him. It's really going to be tough. I would love to throw all my ideas off of somebody else, so I'm going to probably get a guest coming here tomorrow or the next day, and we're going to kind of do some more Sun stuff, and we're going to start talking all-stars and who should be reserves and all these things. We already know the Suns are going to have two representatives in the all-star game. Both Booker and Paul will be there. With Monty being the coach, though, what do you think he should do in that game? Because I got a feeling, I know he's going to have his two guys on that court to close it out. You can't deny those guys to close it out because they have been doing it all year long. So why would you change that? When those all-star games get real tense down the stretch in the fourth quarter, you just give it to Booker and Paul, let them finish it. But if I'm Monty, though, I really don't play those guys a lot of minutes because you're doing something. You want to do something special. You want to do a little bit more than being an all-star game, even though it's a good accolade that they, you know, Monty's being the coach and these guys are making it without having to be backups to somebody being hurt finally. But you want to rest those guys, get them some time off and get them, you know, ready for that last half. I mean, the All-Star game comes in February 20th. By the time we get to February 20th, we're going to probably be close to 55 to 60 games almost. And the season is going to be pretty much 3/4 done. It's not half. Half has been done with a long time ago. We're sitting at almost 50 games right now. So by the time we get 3, 4, 5 more games before the All-Star break, you're at 55, close to 60 games. Like, wow. And I believe that's probably got a lot to do with what the NFL did, moving that extra game. And now their All-Star game got pushed back another week. So that's possibly why. But that's going to go by really fast. When you come back off that break, I hope they don't come back rusty. You want to come back hitting on all cylinders like you were before the break started. So I don't see this team letting up. I really don't. Check us out on the www.believe podcast network, believe.com. Here's a network that has superstar after superstar after superstar, former players doing podcasts for their favorite team that they played for, their team they played for, their teams in their city that they played for locally. It's a heck of a network that's growing by leaps and bounds. It is getting popular all over the place. Myself and Flex from Jersey, we do Believe the Phoenix Suns podcast as well. So check us out at www.believe.com, the Phoenix Suns Believe podcast. So I'm going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, what should the Cardinals do with some of the contracts? And should they pay Kyler Murray extension money like Josh Allen? And what this kid Burrow about to get in sometime in the next couple of years? There's no way they're not going to leave. They're going to be franchise tagging that guy. But we'll talk about that when we come back. Stick around. Casual Sports Show right here on the YouTube channel of Casual Sports.
Got a big painting project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at CasaForChildren.org.
This is Cliff Kingsbury, and you're listening to the second best sounding voice in the Valley, Casual E, on the Casual Sports Show here on KSRN, Arizona.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
Welcome back into the Casual House. Earl Burnett, right here on the Casual Sports YouTube channel, right here on YouTube at Casual Sports, KazualSportz with a Z at the end of the word sports. Check us out. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button when you get there as well. Join the other 2,000 or 3,000 or 2,500 to 3,000 other subscribers on the network, and a lot of good content. You also got some contests going to be coming up where you can win some memorabilia if you're into that type of thing. Fans always want to win jerseys and signed stuff. I mean, I got all stuff back here that I'm not been that type of person to have signed jerseys and get all crazy about that type of stuff. I don't really get crazy about that. I could care less. I just think it looks good inside of a studio, I guess. So that's why I have it. But you're in the Casual House, and we talk Arizona sports, Suns, Cardinals, And tomorrow night, Tuesday, the Suns will have the Nets in town, and shorthanded, of course, because of James Harden's going to be out for a wrist injury or hand injury or something like that. But you will have Kyrie Irving because he plays on the road, so it should be a pretty interesting game. I don't see the Suns losing that game. I mean, I'm looking down their schedule. It's like, when is the next time they're going to lose a game? I'm definitely looking forward to that Bucks game coming up in a couple of games down the line. They got the Bucks coming up. I want to see that game. Anyway, we spoke a little bit about the NFL and what the moves that the Cardinals should make. I want to touch real quick on the Rams real fast because, like I said, that team is constructed to win the Super Bowl this year and this year alone. Can they win the next one next year and get back and all those things? I don't know that. Yes, they can. The system is what it is. They got Stafford again for another year after that. But the 1 year guys that they brought in that have made the difference for them in this year's run, I don't think it's going to be there next year for them. So what the Rams do next year is going to be pretty interesting. But those guys that they're letting go, or those guys that are going to get away from them, are going to be on the market. And you would think, hey, if they can help that team get there, Cardinals. I mean, I like Von Miller. I like how Von Miller's playing right now. In fact, Bird Gang, don't tweet me, don't get mad. I like Von Miller even over Chandler Jones right now. I like his motor, his engine is still Von Miller engine as he starts to get acclimated to what the Rams are doing and getting back into getting back in the rhythm of how he pass rushes. And I like that. Putting him on another side of JJ and adding one more guy, somebody in the interior. Cardinals need somebody on the interior that can rush the passer. You're not going to be moving JJ in the middle. You're not going to be moving him around much. If you got a Von Miller, you can move him one side to the other side and switch sides and all those things. But you need an interior guy that can rush too. I don't know who that is yet right now because I haven't did a lot of research on it yet. But get another good pass rusher, probably a veteran pass rusher. And, of course, you got to look at the draft, but that's a couple of years out. You know how this team drafts. This team doesn't do a good job drafting that type of player. But go get Clowney. Go get Miller. Go get all those Cowboy guys that are going to be leaving. What's the guy's name? Number 90. I'll look at all that stuff later, but get a pass rusher in here. We need to put pressure on quarterbacks. All the quarterbacks we've played against coming down the stretch have had ample time to sit back there and pick us apart, and then done just that. And they have done just that. Picked us apart. So we need some pass rush. And we need to get our linebackers up to speed. A covering linebacker that can cover tight ends and that can, Hicks is, he's a little bit like, for me, he's a serviceable guy, but he's not the guy that's going to be the guy that's going to be on your team that leads your team's defense for years into Super Bowls and playoff games and that type of thing. He's just not. We need somebody in there that can get Isaiah Simmons up to speed. I don't know if anybody watched those playoff game and then the games before that, how Vance was having to pull him out in certain situations and putting guys in with less. I don't want to call them lesser names, but lesser names were going in. Gardeck and Tanner Vallejo going in because those guys were in the right place when they're supposed to be in the right place. They're just not big enough to make an impact to tackle guys. Isaiah can do that. He can tackle, but his eyes getting fooled a lot. And he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's why a lot of these big plays are happening on his watch. A lot of these gashing running plays because he's in the wrong spot. So not just him, it's everybody. Once he's in the wrong spot, somebody else is in the wrong spot. So this team has just been in a downward spiral since the 10-2 run. And it's like, how do you have two totally different seasons in one season like that drastic? So there's a lot of changes that they have to make, a lot of changes. And it's so much of a retool instead of a rebuild, of course. We know they're not that far off. They got a lot of talent on this team, and they should have been a lot better than what they were down the stretch. But Kyler needs to get into the lab and bust out this Joe Burrow tape. Bust it out. Call that kid. Find out what the heck that kid's doing. Because 2 years in, and here this kid is in the Super Bowl, and you got way more talent than he has, and you should be having your team a lot far ahead than where they are right now. So Kyler's got to get into buckling down and playing this quarterback position as a star player and the way it should be played. Get your teammates believing in you, because that's the thing about this Bengal team. That team believes in what Burrow's doing. They will ride that dude no matter where he leads them. And Kyler's got a lot of people that are questioning where he's sending them and taking them. So, I mean, not so much the performance. That's bad enough. But then to back that up with hearing that he's not studying tape and those type of things, just all that stuff is just red flag stuff that you got to clean up being a franchise quarterback. So we'll see what Kyler is going to look like. I'm really interested just to even see him on this dang on Pro Bowl game, even if it's just a Pro Bowl. Will he come out there and take it serious? Even if you don't have to take it serious, it's a Pro Bowl. But I want to see his demeanor just say, I don't care if I'm on the field, I'm going to play tough and play hard and just do the right thing that he needs to do. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see if he just comes out there and not care and just kind of, it's just a playoff. It's just a Pro Bowl game. I don't have to really do anything. I don't have to study nothing. I don't have to do anything. It's just a Pro Bowl attitude. And so that has to change, man. Look at Burrow. Just that's all I'm gonna keep saying. Look at this kid Burrow and go call him and find out what the heck he's doing. I guarantee you he's doing it right, whatever it is. But this has been the Casual Sports Show. We're going to talk about some more Cardinal stuff on our next show. We're going to break down free agency. We're going to break down the draft a little bit, see who should be at number 23 for this team. What do you think we should do for the draft? Should it be a cornerback? Should it be offensive lineman? And is Steve Keim the guy to make those picks? And is there a chance also, too, that, something might jump up to just all of a sudden come out of nowhere where the Cardinals, make some changes that are drastic? But we'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. They don't have a lot of cap space coming up for this offseason. And they're going to have to do some things to make some cap space. So a lot to talk about. Suns going to be going into a playoff run at some point. So we're going to be on the Believe Podcast Network doing the Suns stuff. And we will catch you guys on the next show, Casual Sports Show, right here on the YouTube channel. Check us out if you missed any of the episodes, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm Earl Burnett. Till next time, peace out.
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
Wrong damn button.